That was on the www.balafong.com. Somebody else brought up a topic about it on the Facebook group, and from there, some of the members felt strongly enough about the issue that they formed an organization, or they decided to come together and do something and address this issue. Fortunately for us in the studio today, we have the one that actually authored the initial article. It was called My Secret, and she's on my right, Ms. Ngone Jeng.
Hi.
How are you, Ngone?
I'm good.
What was the inspiration behind that piece?
The inspiration behind the piece, well, it's fictional, but it's based on stories I've heard about people regarding their experiences with sexual abuse. So well, people don't usually talk about it. They just keep it to themselves. So I decided maybe someone should give these people a voice. Someone should say it out loud, put their thoughts out there so that people would know what is happening to them and what they're going through. So I wrote this piece about a 5-year-old girl who went through sexual abuse at the hands of a family member, and who up until when she had grown up didn't have the strength to tell her family or anyone else. She's just keeping it within herself.
But how serious or bad is molestation in Gambia?
Yeah, when you talk about how serious rape and molestation is in the Gambia, we do not have any statistics as of now. And I think this is one of the reasons that GOM was created, so we can actually have a database and know exactly how many people have gone through this, how many people are still going through this. But I think right now we can assess the seriousness of this by, the amount of stories we've been receiving from people. And the fact that this is something that is swept under the carpet, this is something that people hardly talk about due to various reasons. We have taboos, we have the society that decides to, like, sutura, you understand? So I think that is how serious it is. It is so serious people don't want to talk about it. It is so serious people actually choose to keep it to themselves. As of now, there are no statistics, so we cannot actually give you a figure as to how many people have gone through this before.
And sorry, Sana, but from the stories that you've been receiving on the website and Speak Up as well, which you will tell us later on, who are the most affected?
Basically, it's children. The main group of people that are affected is children, because these are people who come up with stories. They are now adults, but these are things that happened to them when they were much younger, about between the ages of 5 and 10. You understand? But then because they do not have someone to talk to it about, they only get to explain their stories and relate their experiences at a later age, say maybe 21, 22. So the mark is like between 5 to 10. These are the most people that get affected, and it's for both girls and boys too. It's not just girls that are affected, because when we talk about rape, people actually think about little girls being molested and all, but then there are also males going through this, and it becomes even harder for them to talk about.
But then the thing is, looking at our society in Gambia, if you talk about rape, usually we just think girls. But what's the statistics when it comes to boys being molested and raped?
Well,
that's not very common in Gambia.
It's not very commonly talked about. And I was going to add, when you asked about statistics, we may not have documented statistics from any major organization, but what you can look at is a simple Google search on the Observer website. If you go on dailyobserver.gm and you just you just search for the word rape or molestation, you see a series of it in our cases. Hardly a week passes by without a story coming into court about somebody being molested or raped. Really? And that shows you how serious it is. And the problem of it not being reported, yes, in Gambia we have taboos and things like that, but it's also worldwide. I mean, this is something that not just physically affects somebody, but mentally. Who are you going to talk about? Talk to it about. It's like, you get blamed, you're afraid you're going to get blamed, and there are just so many problems associated with it.
Outside Gambia, people talk about it freely. You have people that petition, people that do certain things, demonstrate, go cancelling and things like that. But it's very difficult in our society, because you can't really, we don't have that platform or that relationship where we can just go to our mom and say, oh, ki def na madara or ki def ma hole ni or def ma la in an inappropriate way. It's very difficult, and you can't blame the kids, because we're very vulnerable, and then the stigma around it. It might be very traumatizing for a child to be able to face a parent or an adult to say somebody has touched me in an inappropriate way.
It is indeed very traumatizing because I have seen a victim of rape who was actually 10, but this victim she's autistic. She can't even talk for herself, and it's like, according to the mom, after she was raped for months, she would have nightmares and scream.
And this is in Gambia?
And this is in the Gambia. And I've seen 4-year-old rape victims in the Gambia. So it's like, it's something that people don't talk about, and then the victims usually don't tell people because you're always thinking, it's my fault. If you are old enough to be able to think for yourself, but if you're like 4 or 5, you go to your parents and you're like, oh, so-and-so did this and this to me, they'd be like, no, do diga.
But then sometimes it's a problem because a parent will just send you, oh, they might say uncle de exactly. And then you go there. This is your mom who asked you to go and see your uncle, and then but being naive, friendly, right?
You don't even know
it's wrong because in a very, very inappropriate way, very disturbing way. But don't come now because my uncle that's why I don't understand Lolo.
I mean, some of them get molested, and then you have the rapists themselves tell them, "Soko wahene dinala flee," or "Soko wahesayai dinala hurt," or something. We have stories where people actually tell us, "Daf mako def bapare munema, soko wahene dinala rei." You understand? These are kids. You tell them exactly. They threaten to hurt someone that is there to you. So nitsulawa hello yo yange think about say I bunwara ray wala sa sister bunwara hurt. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to go to anybody because you want to protect those people. So you choose to keep the story to yourself. So that is also a barrier. It's something that keeps these kids because hala yun daw lang tangleni tita tangleni ragalo. So they cannot really go there and tell their parents ki lila madef. Because ako has a parent mugom na farem akip ko kunono. Understand? So munyo maybe he does not even carry out the threat, but it is just there in the child's mind. So it's a problem for them to come out and talk about this.
And one of the things is it actually continues. It's not a lot of these cases. It's not a one-time thing.
No, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, you do it once and the child just, quiets down and doesn't say a word, and then it keeps continuing for years.
So and what is GAM doing about this?
First thing is we want to raise awareness. We want people to talk about it. So not to blame anybody, but for every one of us to be aware that this is a reality in our society. It's not just something that happens overseas or in the newspapers. It could be someone very close to you. When that article came out, Goni's article on Balafong, at first it was quiet, and then you saw people that you actually know that have never talked about this. They come and comment and say, this happened to me. So
you have a platform where people express themselves and then share their experiences.
Yes, now we have, we just launched it last week, speakup.gm.
That is a part of GAM?
It is a part of GAM, but this is a page where people that don't want to come forth with true stories, I mean, they just come, it's anonymous. Even the people that run the website don't know who actually wrote on it. I mean, we have some programmers on Balafong, and they actually helped build this website. People like Sirin, Imran, and they built this website, and it's there for people to just come. Anybody can come and put your story down. But GAM's goals and objectives are mainly, one, we want to sensitize the public. We want everybody to be aware that this is out there, and so they can do something about it and listen, talk to your kids, talk to your little nephews and nieces, and even adults, because rape doesn't just stop with kids. And then along with that, we want to also, in future, start helping prosecute offenders. So maybe we'll have a hotline in the future where everybody, it will be popular, everybody can say, okay, if I dial 111, I can reach GAM, and then we will, of course, work with legal practitioners and things like that to help you state your case. And also provide help for victims. Because as we said, this is not just a physical abuse, but it's also a mental abuse, and it stays with victims for years, where you have nightmares about it. Your relationship with men, if in the case of women, becomes affected. And so get counseling, get trained people to work with these people and help them recover as much as they can from this.
You're all young people. I mean, you're not professionals when it comes to counseling and psychology and things like that. How do you hope to assist victims? How do you hope to counsel them? Are you going to train yourselves